We are calling the February 27, 2017 Board of Adjustment meeting to order. I would like to make a brief opening statement for the information of the public. The Board of Adjustment is an impartial body made up of residents of the town of Prescott Valley who volunteer their time and efforts and are guided by state and local rules and regulations. When you address the board, please state your name and address for the record. Only one person may speak at a time, and all remarks must be addressed to the board as a whole. At this time, I would like to recognize staff members who are present: Fernando Gonzalez, Code Enforcement Supervisor; Christy Jones, Administrative Support; and Carrie Stutty, Administrative Support. May I ask the Secretary to call the roll, please?
Member Gamble?
Present.
Member Wood?
Here.
Member Johnson?
Here.
Chairperson Shimon?
Here.
Vice Chair Kyle?
Since we do not have a full board present at tonight's meeting pursuant to Article 1329-060, you have the right to request that your item be deferred to a future meeting when a full 5-member board is present. A board approval or denial requires a majority vote. The motion will not pass if there is less than a majority affirmative votes. So I would ask the applicant, would you like to postpone or will you continue? Thank you. I would now ask if there are any changes or modifications to the January 23rd, 2017 minutes. Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Second, please.
I'll second.
A voice vote, please.
Member Johnson?
Yay.
Member Wood?
Yes.
Member Gamble?
Yes.
Chairperson Shimon?
Yes. Are there any announcements from staff or board members?
Nothing from staff at this time.
The first item on our agenda this evening is the election of officers. Since we do not have all our Board of Adjustment members present, I move that we postpone the election until the future meeting where the next future meeting where we will have a full board.
Second.
A voice vote, please.
Member Wood?
Yes.
Member Gamble?
Yes.
Chairperson Shimon?
Yes.
Member Johnson?
Yes.
I will now read the second item on the agenda. It's for a variance, V17000. The applicant is Rudy L. Claron. Upon the application of Rudy L. Claron, owner, a request for a variance to waive the requirements described within Section 1321-060C2 of the Town of Prescott Valley zoning ordinance, which requires a maximum height of 8 feet for fences, walls, screen walls, hedges, and shrubbery on commercially and industrially zoned lots. The subject property is located at 2850 North Enterprise Parkway, Prescott Valley Business Park, APN number 402-14229P. Mr. Gonzalez, the staff report, please.
The subject property is located within the M1 PAD zoning district, which is a planned area development, industrially zoned area. The zoning district is intended to provide sufficient space and opportunity for locations for industrial and heavy impact uses. The applicant operates a medical marijuana cultivation facility at the location mentioned above. A use permit was required and granted by the Board of Adjustment on August 26, 2013. One of the specific conditions of that use permit was that the applicant adhere to all state and local requirements in order to operate the cultivation facility. In your packet included is a title 9, Chapter 17 of the Arizona Administrative Code that outlines specific standards required to operate the dispensary of medical marijuana. Standard number 16 requires that an enclosed area or fenced area, when used in conjunction, the enclosed area for the facility, meaning the outdoor space, is required to be of a solid 10-foot wall constructed of metal, concrete, or stone, and that will prevent viewing of the medical marijuana facility with 1-inch thick metal gates. The facility indicated that the application is required to comply with all state and local requirements as part of the condition placed on use permit UP 13-002. Furthermore, the applicant must comply with Town Title 9, Chapter 17 of the Arizona Administrative Code that requires the 10-foot high wall. Due to the facts noted above, staff is recommending the board approve Variance 17-001, a variance from Section 1321-060C2 that allows the construction of the 10-foot wall under the following conditions: that all required permits must be obtained prior to the construction of the wall, and that the wall is construction in accordance with all state and local standards.
Thank you. Have any board members questions for Supervisor Gonzalez? The chair recognizes Member Wood.
Thank you. When the use permit was issued in 2013,
Yes.
first of all, let me preface that. Are they growing marijuana at the present time?
Yes, they are. There is an active cultivation facility there, yes.
And they haven't built a wall yet?
They have not built a wall. The cultivation facility right now is housed completely within a structure or building, and I believe in review of the standards, they were required any lot, space surrounding the area to be fenced, so that's why they're complying, or wishing to comply at this time with the standard.
Well, when the use permit was issued, wasn't there a sunset date on it that everything should be done by a certain date?
No, I don't believe there was a time frame or a date at the time.
Any other questions? I went to look at the facility. There's a quite a high fence now with concertina wire around the top. It seems to be fairly well secured, but they are doing this because they must be in compliance with Arizona statute.
Correct. When you drove by the facility, you probably saw the vacant land or dirt next door. They thought they were in compliance by putting up the other screen wall that actually gated in and out of that area. There's doors that they can get in, and they were getting that. However, if you also, I don't know if you noticed, but across the way, they are building another facility similar to that, and that has the steel wall that's 10 feet high. In review of the standards, when they were out there, they were advised that they were not in compliance because they needed to completely house or screen the whole property. That dirt lot before the building is part of that property, and they didn't realize that that was the case, so that's why they are now required to do that around the dirt lot that they're not even going to use. There's no parking, it's not improved, it's just dirt. But they have, because it's part of the facility, they have to secure it as well.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Answered mine.
The applicant is not here, so we can proceed to discussion within the board. Has anyone information to impart? I would then make a motion that we approve the request for this variance, and that we include, I make a motion that we approve this variance, and that all recommendations, all staff recommendations must be complied with in order for this to be approved by us. May I have a second?
Second.
And the board, as a body, understands that we are making a motion to approve variance V17001. May we have a voice vote?
Member Johnson?
Yes.
Member Wood?
Yes.
Chairperson Schimmen?
Yes.
Member Gamble?
Yes.
The motion is, it carries, it's unanimous. Our second agenda item, UP 17001, is for a use permit. Upon the application of Ryan Johnson, Account Manager for Signs Plus, a request for a use permit per section 1323040A of the Town of Prescott Valley zoning ordinance in order to install and operate an electronic information center sign. The subject property is located at 9200 East Valley Road, Prescott Valley Business Park, Lot 3A, APN number 402280003A. Mr. Gonzalez?
Thank you. The subject property is located in a C3 zoning district, commercial minor industrial. The zoning district is intended to establish and preserve areas located for the heavy type commercial activities, including warehousing, wholesaling, light manufacturers, things of that nature. The property is surrounded by other similar uses, which are heavy commercial in nature. Town Code Section 1323.060 specifically prohibits animated or flashing signs except for clocks, barber poles, public service information signs, time and date, and electric information centers, such as what we're talking about today, which otherwise comply with Sections 1326A, 04A, C, and D of this code. Further, Town Code Section 1323.040A outlines building-mounted signs standards regarding the placement of such signs and the conditions placed on it before the Board of Adjustments. The facts are that the Town of Prescott Valley Zoning Ordinance Code Section 1323.040A allows electronic information centers signage with the approval of the Board of Adjustments. Therefore, due to the facts noted, staff is recommending that we approve use permit UP 17-001 under the following conditions. And those conditions are pretty much standards and of static, fading, travel, and scrolling, and I've actually defined those for you here. Standards for static signs, which include no animation, effects, or similar animation. In other words, you can't have things coming and going and birds flying, cars moving, things of that nature. Fading, signs where the static measures are changing, meaning varying in light intensity, where the first message gradually reduces, and intensity where the points are being visible to subsequent messages gradually increasing. So we don't want them to be doing that because that's something that could be distracting. However, there's static information signs. If it just goes off and then another one comes on, it's fine. Travel, of course, we've seen those traveling signs where they keep going around and around. It says, warehousing now, and keeps going, and there's a message, ongoing message. You have to read it as it scrolls through. Signs where messages are changing, charged, and apparent horizontal movement. Letters gradually eliminating while the message is moving. And the scrolling is basically the same thing. Signs where the message is changing by the apparent vertical movement of letters, graphics, and elements of the message. Those are the conditions that we would ask that be set on this if they choose to approve the use permit. And the applicant is here, their representative is here, if you have any further questions.
Has anyone questions for Supervisor Gonzalez?
I do.
Mr. Wood?
I'm overloaded with information, Mr. Gonzalez. What does the sign look like?
It's actually just a
Other than an information sign, I can understand that, but
right. The actual sign is just, and we may have a rendition that I can pass on. It's just going to be a box sign, and it's just going to have like, similar to what we have out in the Parkway, except that it's not going to have all the animated stuff.
think it's on
And
the
I can
back.
show you here.
Is it on the back?
Oh, is it on the back of the,
I missed it.
Yeah.
oh, okay. I didn't realize we had a.
That's the front of their building, anyway, so.
I don't-
Do you have the rendition there? Okay, great.
Line too. Saw this. But is it going to be an animated sign? Is there going to be information up there?
It's just information.
Changing information?
Not changing information. Well, it will change, but it has to be static. It can't come and go. It can't scroll. Can't do any of those movements. It'll have to be static. There's a sign, kind of like when they say Signs Plus 30% off this month. And that information will be on there for a set time. And then what will happen is that'll go away and then another sign will come up. But they can't fade into one, into another message. It has to completely go and then come back. Or it can't scroll where it says, things of that nature. And these are the conditions that we're asking that, you put on, and that's why I defined everything under those conditions.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
You're welcome.
Does any other board member have a question for Mr. Gonzalez?
I would just, when you're looking at a sign, it's electronics, and imagine they're selling a lot of LED signs are huge.
Yes.
I mean, you go down to Phoenix, you see all the billboards, and you see everything, and I'm sure it's part of a sales tool for them
Right.
as well, showing the sign, but they have to comply with the sign ordinance for the Prescott Valley stating those issues that you mentioned.
That is
So
correct.
basically, it has to just be a static sign, but they can change it on their computer inside, and it can't be changed like a flashing sign. It can only be changed, I don't know how many times a day would it be, but
And that's
Other
correct. The only benefit to this sign would be that you can be inside and actually change it from the computer, and it'll change the sign outside. If you wanted to do that once an hour, once every 15 minutes, that's fine, as long as it's not animated or changing, scrolling, things of that
it
nature.
can't change fast. It can't change every minute or something. It's
Correct. We have a sign out on Highway, I think the CVS, where they have an actual freestanding that they have to bring down, and then they change the letters out, and it goes back up. This is just going to save the time.
Walgreens, wasn't it?
Is it Walgreens? Yes,
Walgreens, yeah.
yes, along Highway 69, correct, Walgreens.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is going to be just a little bit, and it'd be for advertising so people can see. In talking to their representative, they do say they sell a lot of these down in Phoenix and those areas. Up here, they've only placed two, which is the ones at the Highway 69 and the one in front of the event center. There's actually two more that are approved for the event center that haven't been placed on the building itself.
But those are only allowed because it was a PAD, right?
That is correct. Those have been already approved. Those were approved through council action.
That's all I had.
Any further questions? Would the applicant address the board?
Charlotte Youngie.
Good evening.
Hi.
Hi. Have any board members questions for the applicant?
What's your name?
Charlotte. Last name Youngie.
Can you spell the last name for me, please?
Junge.
Thank you.
So I guess I do have just basically, just to reiterate what I mentioned to Fernando, that the sign cannot be changed minute by minute. It's going to have to be thought of in advance, and if you change it every 30 minutes or whatever, I don't think that's a problem, but because then it becomes somewhat of an animated sign or a flashing sign, you would change it too quickly. So I guess that would be my only thought, that because it's up there and it's so easy to change that, you can't set the computer up to continually have it change.
And actually, we will not have the computer on site. This is an Optech unit. So Optech, we're a distributor of Optech, and so Optech will actually have to change it for us by their computer. So we have to request it. So it's not something we can go into our computers, type in, and then it happens. We actually have to request it,
Okay.
and we have to send
Where's
their.
Optech?
Oh, I think
California or the,
I want to say somewhere in the Midwest, but
that amazing?
I'm not positive. We email. But yeah, so it's not, we would not be
That's
doing,
something you
it would
can't
be
have.
more of a, like, a month or a week or, something new to kind of make Signs Plus fresh every month or so. So it wouldn't be distracting from the road or anything like that, so.
Right.
Thank you, because I was thinking if you type fast or you hook it into your tablet, we've got Mario Brothers.
No, we're not going to try and be sneaky like that. So we just want to show LEDs are newer and they save electricity and they're just what everybody's going to start using now instead of neon and fluorescence. So it's advertising what we can produce and what we can install, but we're not trying to distract anybody from driving.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions for the applicant? We thank you.
Thank you.
We're back to the board for discussion. Would anyone volunteer an opinion? Would anyone then make a motion?
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion that we accept the use permit, UP 17-001, with the conditions as stipulated by the town's former information.
I would second that motion. May we have a voice vote, please?
Member Wood,
Yes.
Member Gamble,
Yes?
Member Johnson,
Yes.
Chairperson Shimon.
Yes. I would at this point ask if there is anyone in the audience who would like to address the board at this time. No comment from the public. There being no further business, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Voice vote, please.
Chairperson Shimon,
Yes.
Member Johnson,
Yes.
Member Gamble,
Yes?
Member Wood.
Yes.
We are adjourned.